Hi, I'm Luke. It's probably gonna surprise you that I'm sitting now somewhere in the basement. It's just today is my mom's birthday, and our house is full of guests. And it's not that I'm afraid of people, but my mom's friends just doesn't let me go. So I had to hide from them. You wanna know what my mom's friends need from me and why it's easier for me to hide there instead of communicating with them? Then make sure you watch this video to the end. It's gonna be interesting. By the way, there's lots of funny and fascinating stories on this channel. Subscribe and click the bell button to never miss new stories. Stay tuned and watch new videos. And today, I'm going to tell you my story. Let's go! My mom has been very sociable since I was a kid. She could easily make friends with someone on the playground. She could easily start a conversation in the line at the store or at the bus stop. Therefore, she always had a lot of friends. When she celebrates her birthday party, it's always noisy and fun in our house. Among all her friends, Mom had three best ones: Monica, Kristen, and Anna. They met in kindergarten. They were friends at school and even entered the same university, but they studied at different departments. They experienced the saddest and the most joyful moments in their lives together. They were inseparable friends. If you know the series like Friends and Sex and the City, they are about my mom and her friends. All four got married almost at the same time. The difference was just several months. As my mom told me once, it was their cunning plan. They wanted to get married at the same time, then get pregnant, give birth to wonderful babies who would also be friends together. And they did it. Monica, Kristen, and Anna had girls, and Mom had me. We all spent the weekends together. We went on vacation together. And then my dad got promoted at work, and we had to move to another city. And it was in another part of the country. Of course, my mom was very worried. Her best friends were like her sisters, and it was not easy for her to part with them. They often made video calls to her. They constantly chatted on the phone, but it was not the same. I stopped communicating with the girls, the daughters of my mom's friends. At first, because we didn't have any way to communicate, I didn't know what I could talk about with them. We usually just played together. When I got a little older, my teenage troubles started, and I thought communicating with girls was not cool. Therefore, when my mom invited me to go with her to the city where we used to live, I refused. Instead, I went to a Boy Scout camp. Anyway, this would have been the end of my story, but my dad got promoted again. They offered him to return to his hometown and become a branch CEO there. My dad agreed. My mom was happy. Despite the fact we had lived in another place for almost 12 years, she never got used to it, and every time she remembered how happy she was in her hometown. On the contrary, I totally did not want to move. My school, my friends, my sports club, everything was there. But my parents decided everything for me. I was only 16 at that time, and I couldn't stay anywhere without their permission. Of course, the very next day after our return, we barely had any time to sort out all the things from the boxes. My mom's friends immediately came to visit us. Over the years, they have changed a lot, but like Mom, they have remained beautiful and attractive women. They talked about everything at once. I joined them for dinner to be polite, but then I left to arrange the things in order in my room. Only my dad was able to tolerate their female conversations. When I was passing by the living room to the kitchen, I accidentally overheard my mom and friends discussing me. I was curious. I stopped and listened to the conversation. Monica told my mom how much I had grown up. She said I became so handsome, tall, fit, athletic, smart. My mom agreed. And she never stopped listing my achievements in studies and sports. I was really successful in everything: swimming, basketball, exact sciences or humanitarian sciences, playing the guitar or dancing. I tried a lot of things, but eventually I settled on basketball because I like to be on the move and win by throwing balls into the hoop. Because of constant sports practices, my body was always in great shape. That's why I always caught girls' glances, but I wasn't interested in anyone. Yeah, I went on dates, but none of them turned into relationships or anything. Over time, I even started thinking I felt bored with the girls of my age. They all seemed stupid and uninteresting, even despite the fact some of them were really beautiful. My mom kept praising me, and her friends agreed how great it would be if I started communicating with their daughters again, because there were not many good guys around, and I was just perfect. The only thought that came to my mind at that time was that I didn't have enough. I had no doubt my mom's friends' daughters would look beautiful, but I did not want to communicate with anyone because someone told me to. I hoped after this conversation, my mom and her friends would forget about everything, but it wasn't there. I got the impression that Monica, Kristen, and Anna entered into an unspoken competition among themselves, and the thing was, whose daughter would I choose in the end? One evening, my mom came up to me and said Monica's daughter needed some help. Something had happened to her laptop, and it was already evening. No workshop would take it. Monica's daughter had to pass an important project tomorrow, and she couldn't finish it without a laptop. I knew something about technologies, and sometimes I even worked part-time in the workshop in my spare time. Honestly, I didn't even connect in my head the desire of my mom's friends to get together with their daughters. I just realized that someone needed some help and went home to Monica. I got it when I realized there was no one at home except Monica's daughter, Susie, and she herself met me in some short shorts and a tight-fitting top. I agree, it was not homeware. I patiently repaired the laptop, trying not to pay attention to her flirting and some attempts to seduce me. Of course, Susie didn't do it in an open way, but I could tell by her behavior she was interested in me. Maybe, in another case, she would have attracted my attention, but the fact that everything going on had been arranged by our mothers, that infuriated me. So I tried to leave this house as soon as possible. 2 weeks later, my mom came to me with another request. It turned out Kristen's daughter, Clara, loved basketball very much, but none of her friends supported her hobby. She planned to go to a basketball game next weekend, but she had no company. Mom hinted since I played myself, it would probably be interesting for me to look at the professionals, and at the same time, I would give Clara some company. This time, I already understood what my mom was driving at, but I couldn't refuse. I understood she would be uncomfortable in front of her friend. I liked Clara better. She didn't try to seduce me. She dressed appropriately for the situation, and generally, she behaved as if everything going on was terribly embarrassing for her. I asked if she was aware of her mom's plans, and Clara honestly replied she was. But since she's on a date for the first time, she had no idea how to behave and what to do. I liked her sincerity, so we spent the rest of the evening like some old friends, chatting about everything and actively discussing the game. As a girl, Clara did not interest me, but we agreed we could become great friends. Since I was involved in the game of my mom and her friends, I was looking forward to having a date with the third applicant, Anna's daughter, and they found a suitable reason. It turned out the third girl really needed a tutor in French. I didn't have any problems with the language. I could easily watch movies in French without subtitles. I understood everything the characters were talking about. Mom said Anna would be sincerely grateful if I practiced French with her daughter. I did not refuse. I understood what she was driving at. If I met other girls, Anna's daughter would not be an exception. And Hannah surprised me from the doorway. As soon as I went into her room and her mom left us, she said she was not interested in me or in French at all. She already had a boyfriend. Her mom just didn't know about it. Hannah didn't introduce them because she was afraid Mom wouldn't like him. After all, he's not as perfect as me. I told her I did not need her attention either. So, just for a show, we sat in the room for an hour. We buried our heads in phones, and then we just parted. I hoped after 3 dates, my mom and her friends would calm down, but every time these women deliberately pushed me to their daughters. Susie annoyed me. For some reason, Hannah was angry with me. But Clara was the only one I had a nice talk with, and her mom started to feel some kind of advantage over the other rivals. That's why I ran into the basement just in the middle of the party. I hope they won't get me here. I plan to talk with my mom in the near future. I hope she will stop her friends one day, and I would find a girlfriend for myself. What would you do in my shoes? Would you refuse your mom from the very start, or would you play the game until the end? Maybe I should have talked directly to her friends. Write your tips in the comments below. I will definitely read all of them because I need your support. Thanks for watching my story, and don't forget to like it. Bye, everyone. See you later.